Welcome to the Miniatures Paintbrush, and I'm super excited because today I'm going to show you the building of my gaming table. Alrighty, so welcome back. First, we're going to head over to the hog pen. It's not very safe to enter, and I apologize, it's a little shaky with the camera right now, is because we're just trying to get in there, and there's no stabilization while we're getting in there, so we kind of just put this, I just kind of took my camera and went in and tried the best that I could. So this is a retired hog pen. And as you can see, it's not very safe to enter, but this is where, all our gold is, aka our wood. So there it is. So there are all the planks, and they're pretty in rough shape. But we took the planks down that we wanted, and we did a combination of walnut and oak. I like that look. It's a bit different. And I did want a different table. So I asked the cows, hey guys, do you guys like it? And they're like, oh. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. I like it too. I'll accept it. All right. So my Uncle Charlie and father-in-law Dave, aka Dad, Charlie is an expert furniture maker, while Dad is an expert carpenter, and they really blessed me. So let's get on to the actual sounds of construction. It's time to cut the planks down used for the center table. Always use caution. We use several people. These are very long planks. So, and in essence, we've gotten all our wood for quote unquote, air quote, free to get this table done, because we went and used a hog pen instead of going into a lumber mill in a lumber yard. And if you go to the lumber yard, they're going to cost. It's going to cost, because wood is not cheap, especially handmade. So we cut down the planks to side for the initial construction. There it is. We went into Hicksville Mill, located in Western Maryland. It's just way they can plane it out, and just we have something to work with. All right, so what we did, we cut to the length of the table, which is 73 inches. And the first plank is actually a template. So there it is. So creating a template, and this way all the other planks are used for construction are exactly the same. And this is exactly what I use when I use popsicle sticks when I'm building small houses. If you haven't seen those videos, I actually constructed those. This is a rough cut. This is not the actual thing. So we want to put it together to have a unique look. We decided on how the boards are going to be 3¼ inches and 73 inches. So this is a dry fitting stage. So we're just putting it together. And then one half of the table is squared, marked down for the blocks, and dry fitting is essential in this stage. But then we biscuit join. I'm going to let my father-in-law explain biscuit joining.
Now, how does this work?
Huh?
How does it work?
How does it work?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you set this, it's got a red mark here, and you have 0, 10, and 20. That's your biscuit size.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
And what that does is your cutter head, that allows your cutter head to go deeper or not so deep in order to make your that's your stop right here. So your cutter head doesn't go quite as deep. This is your angle, because we want those straight in because it's a 45-degree angle. And you put a line on your pieces, pencil mark on your pieces, and then so you can keep so you know where to make your biscuit. So you know where to put your biscuit, so you keep them lined up on each piece. And you put a pencil mark, and then you line them up with the red one, the red mark here, and these marks here. Then you turn it on, plug it in, you turn it on, you squeeze the trigger, and you push it in. Push it twice, and it cuts.
So I'll leave you something like that.
And it makes the result is a groove like this. So then you have a groove on each board that you want to put together. then you put your glue on here and you slide your biscuit down in there like that. Then your other board that lines right up with that fits right down over that. That's all glued together. This swells. The glue causes this biscuit to swell up and fills this cavity tight. And when the glue completely dries, you have a very, very, very tight bond.
I love it. Well, thank you.
Gotta
Do the
hold
first
on.
one.
He's got to hold on to it.
Do the first one. I'll do the next one. Alrighty.
All right, so now what we're doing is we're going to glue all the biscuits into place. We're using a wood glue for a bonding agent, Tri-Bond. I recommend them. I like them. Use their Type 3. It's waterproof. Waterproof. And we're using a throwaway brush here. You're going to want to use a throwaway brush because this glue is going to get all over the place. I mean, this is why us miniature painters never ever throw away our brushes. You never know what you might use them for, even if it's something like this. So you're spreading it evenly and you're spreading it in the holes itself. You kind of want to squeeze out so this way there's no air or anything or any gaps, anything that's not actually secured onto your board. So you want complete and even coverage throughout. Then you set your biscuits down. And you could buy these biscuits. So you want to do warm, dry conditions if possible. And this was a hot summer day when we did this, so it was good. And you definitely want to you can get your biscuits from a hardware store. I believe we used 10-inch biscuits for that slot right there. And it's important to add glue to not just one side, but to both sides of the bond. Again, you're trying to get all the air or any kind of material out of there, so this way you have just pure glue bonding them together to make a very secure bond. And I am very secure about this very secure bond. The table is so strong. At this point, I believe I can dance on top of it and it'd be no problem. And I'm not a small individual. So fill the opposite plank with glue before setting them in. So you see the process right there. Just lining it up again, making sure that everything is set. A lot of glue is used in this construction for this opponent, and we did this for every single plank. I'm just trying to show you what we did for one plank, but we did this for every single plank. There are the biscuits I'm talking about. It looks like little footballs. And then you use that biscuit joiner in order to make the holes so this way it can set. And I use Tri-Bond, Tight Bond, 3 wood glue. Yeah. Wood glue is important to use. You can't just use Elmer's glue for this kind of construction. I mean, you can, but I highly do not advise it. The wood glue is specially formulated to bond to this glue, to this surface. And all right, so there it is. We're pressing it together. You gotta hammer it in. They were 10 inches apart throughout the plank, just so as be secure. And again, just tapping it into place, making sure that everything is perfectly gone. All the air bubbles are out of there, and that it is a tight fit. Again, long segment over here, but this is just what it took to do one plank. So we did this for all the planks, and you can see here we let it dry for a very, very, very long time. We didn't sand the bottom of the planks. We said the planer is going to take care of that because it's the bottom of the table, and we're really not concerned about the bottom of the table. I don't know, hardly anybody climbs under there. All right, so we have all of these glue planks setting for at least 24 hours. I think we did 48 just to be sure, to make sure that all the planks are set. Again, we're doing half the table here. Once the planks are set, again, you measure, and you constantly measure to make sure that it is perfect. There's a square. It looks like there was one plank that was out of place, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take a rubber mallet, and we're just going to tap it on the side, and within tapping it ever so slightly, it actually does change the position of that one plank. So you can see that. Very, 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 very micro measurements here, even to the standards of miniatures at this point. So it's just got to get in micro scale. So miniature stuff actually comes in handy when building and constructing real world 1-to-1 scale stuff. All these skills are needed. So you got to make sure that it is absolutely perfect, and you got to look at it. You got to look at it to make sure that it's absolutely square. All right, so now that it's done drying, it's time to remove the excess glue to make it easier on the planer. You don't want to mess up the planer when you take it to the mill. I mean, that's just impolite. So here we are at the planing mill, and there it is. There's a planer. We do not have one of these huge things here. You plane two halves of the table and put it together because, well, the entire table would not fit in that planer right there. So there you go. And there are the two pieces constructed. It is a lot of fun. We join them together right there with a big old wood clamp, carpenter's wood clamp. And then here comes the sanding. And yeah, I sanded a lot of stuff. And then we got to get the sides on. I'm going to let Uncle Charlie explain the BS measurement.
So we put this piece here.
Okay.
The BS is what they call an inside measurement. It's between shoulders. Okay? Can you get that up? Well, we have to get that squared off. But anyhow, when you put them two pieces in there like that with your dado, then that gives you the exact measurement to get it down to where you need it.
All right, so there's a BS measurement done. The table was a tad bit too large, so we trimmed it down. In order to trim it down, we now need to know the exact measurements of the blade, and we got to apply that to the table. Always consider the blade width, the actual width of the blade when cutting, because it can actually make it a little bit smaller. So if you could construct something like this, make sure your measurements are on point, because one false move and oh boy. So they're marking the edge right now. The edge of the saw. So this way, when we lay the saw down, it'll actually cut. We clamp the straight edge just to make sure that a cut is accurate. So there's a lot involved in making a straight cut. You know, there's more than you consider. And we're putting this straight edge over here and taking in consideration the width of the blade, the saw itself, and exactly where the blade is going to be. And see, we just line it up, taking those measurements, and you can make that precise cut. And it's straight along the entire edge. Good thing we always build larger than we need, so we can always trim off later on. There it is. All right, so next up, we have the walnut surround, which was notched out to create the recesses. I wanted recesses like this because when you're rolling dice, dice tend to fall off the table, and I didn't want any of that, so I recessed the table by doing this part right here. Next up, what we're going to do is we're going to drill some holes, bore some holes for the legs of the table onto that frame itself. And then we're going to use wood filler here. I use Elmer Pro Bond wood filler. No sponsor, but hey, if you want to. All right, so let's take some. And this is the stuff that I use for modeling builds as well, that wood filler. And I use that for bases. Oh, time to sand things out. I love sanding things out rather. All right, so time to cut more wood. I love the sound of wood being spliced. So here we are. Time to cut out the outer frame. I gotta love the outer frame right there. There's nothing like that sound right there. So satisfying, really, just so satisfying. So we have that ready to go. And next up, what we're going to do is we're going to make notches in the outer planks. Okay, so we're going to use that to draw the tabletop to the actual table. We're going to make these notches on both sides, on the outer ridge and on the frame itself. And then we're going to take metal pieces and put them together and draw the top of the table to it. So there it is. That's what it's going to look like. Alrighty, so next up, what we're going to do, there it is. Those are the metal pieces. I also going to look under the table, and it's going to draw the top of the table to the table by doing that. But you have to have that on both sides in order to do it. Okay, so equal notches set on the walnut box right along there. Again, two flanges, and drawing the table in. Time to finalize the construction of the recessed box. Okay, we're using some wood glue. Again, Titebond 3. And we place the plank in the middle to check for bowing. All right, so next up, I'm going to give it over to Uncle Charlie.
Yep. And then you tighten this down.
And what is it called?
So down.
Dowel
Dow
jig.
jig.
Yep.
Says
And-
holes in the front.
We take our drill with a brad point bit. Follow the bore a hole.
There you go. And that centers it in the piece of wood, so it doesn't split or anything.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. That is sweet.
Now, we'll go over here and do the post. Now, to bore our post, we put a stop. Hold these flat.
So this is the stop right here.
This is a stop for
Okay.
this edge. Then you have to come around here, and we marked 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is for our posts going one direction. That's 3 and 4. And then coming back the other direction for the other side. We stopped on 1 and on 2. We'll use another 3/8 brad point bit with the drill press. And we get our doweling holes,
The same as our aprons.
Same as our apron and nice and straight. Okay, we're fitting dowels. You guys see that we bored out these holes right here. We use a router for this. And we chipped out.
Put some glue in it.
Make that up. Then we're gonna put dowels in. It's these guys right here. Put them in the microwave. Take the moisture out of them. 5 seconds. If not, they start getting a flame. All right, you people got to know the tricks there. Then you put them together.
Pretty flush here.
There you go. Nice and flush.
Okay.
You see that it's number.
All right, so now the dowels are ready to be placed. What we're going to do, again, using that wood glue Type Blonde 3, not a sponsor. I wish. We're going to fill up the holes, and really, you want your stuff to kind of ooze out at this point. So just a little bit. Both the sides of the dowel are saturated, so this way you can make the connection. And there are no gaps. There's no air. It's just all glue. It's completely bonding it. We're constructing a table essentially to last more than just my lifetime, more than the lifetime of the kiddos. So that's what it is. It's a legacy. That's what it is that we're building and constructing here. It's just more than just a game table. It's definitely going to be used for battle reports and other things future in the channel. But even beyond that, game night with family, gaming tables are used for a lot of things. I use it for Shadespire, but you could throw it onto some Monopoly or some D&D, any kind of game that you want. And the importance of game night is that it really brings everybody together. Now with technology and everything else, people are generally isolated. They're to themselves. They text people instead of call people out. They use their texting power instead of their voices. And it's a shame. It's really sad how society is getting like that right now, in my opinion. So game night is a night where it brings the family and friends together just to have some fun. Put down the cell phone for a bit and have some fun. Alrighty.
Get the glue on it.
Okay.
Okay, we're ready to glue, right? We got the clamp.
Yep.
So
We've got our top
we got our top iron in there.
top iron groove.
And then what we'll do is once we get this and take it back off, we'll just stick a glue block
Just
in
top
here.
iron groove mat.
Okay?
What's
That's-
that?
You want to get a picture of that? That's
Oh, that is nice. That is nice. There you go.
I did want to see something there, Dave.
Oh, yeah.
See, and then when we get this rail on
That's
here,
gorgeous.
this will pull up tight, Dave.
Okay, so now we're going to secure it. You see how secure it really is. I'm putting a lot of things on there just to make sure. And here it is, all sides. You're going to clamp those legs together just to make that secure fit. Make sure that it's pressed on. Those blocks of wood are placed there, so this way it's not hurting the actual table when we're pressing as hard as we are.
Matter of fact, that base there might be better. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's take this line away, and let's take this line away. You can see it. That's what we're going to make it, okay?
Sounds good to
We'll
me.
make it just like this here.
I'll do it. That makes it a lot easier.
And I can come right around there with the router.
Mm-hmm.
I told him we're going to round this over, and you had that pattern for them little braces.
Yeah.
And we talked about them. We're going to see if that's going to fit,
Okay.
and then what we'll do, we'll see where they're going to set. Yeah, there's going to be a 2 3/4 inch hole here, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
I got it marked here, and then we're going to make a template for this. Cut it out inside,
Uh-huh.
and then we'll just take that router and go around in here. Okay, and then just route that out.
Okay.
He said he's going to put felt in there, so it don't have to be nothing. It's perfect.
So the cup holders, you're just gonna put. So what we did was, we bored our 3/8 holes,
Uh-huh.
and then after we made these brackets, we bored the holes in here. Then you drop this, is called a center, the dowel center. And you drop this down in the hole. This fits down in the hole tight. And we held these up here. It's got a little point, and you tap them with your hammer, and that marks your spot where you need to drill your hole in.
Oh, wow.
So we drilled them out. These are glued and clamped.
Nice.
So these were a pistol,
I can imagine.
and this
Boring
was
that
a
out.
pistol right here.
Goodness.
Yeah, and the next, if we do this again, if we incorporate this, what we'll do is just cut these square. Let the round holes, we'll cut them off square.
Right.
Okay, we
Yeah.
figured that out. But this is where a lot of time went into this piece right here. First made it out of 7/8 stock, and then we sawed it down because it was too thick.
Uh-huh.
But this is our template for these holes. Okay.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Then, because we had to make it, and how we made this was on the, I think I took some pictures of that. I'll have them on my phone.
Oh, yeah,
How
drill
we
press?
made this was on the router table.
Okay.
Setting this down with the bit up through, and we made this, made this template.
Neat.
So then, in order to have somewhere, in order to hold it, to clamp it, we made these extenders. They fit tight. And then we clamp out here where we weren't interfering with the router itself. So then we routed these out.
Oh, wow.
So we first took this template, this bit. See, that's a round nose, and that made your round corners. We decided we weren't going to square them up. And this fits on the router, like so. And this, we routed that around the outside. Of course, we had to go
Wow.
down a little bit at a time. You can't do it all at once.
Wow.
Then, after we had that established, then we took this bottom router, and Charlie had that in the other router, and then this was off of here, and then we just, had to go down, just keep cutting it out a little bit at a time.
Goodness.
So
that
there's
must have
a
taken you
lot of
forever.
time in these
Yeah.
6. These little boxes under here were easy. We just I took my 2 miter saws, set them up, and we cut these pieces first, and then we were trying to biscuit joint them in there. So then all we did was glue these in,
Gotcha.
glued and used clamp nails. And after we spent about 2 hours trying to put the big long clamp nail in,
Oh.
we cut one in half
Uh-huh.
and tapped it, and that
Went
sucker
right in.
went right straight. And I said, "Boy, was that dumb."
Oh, no.
So anyway, we learned that we only use a part of a clamp nail.
And I really love that you use the darker wood for it because
Yeah.
it really does that have that contrast. It's
Right.
really beautiful.
So then all we did was set the other router up, the one that's probably up there. No, yours is in the box. And then we just turned these up edgeways, made a little jig, little holder, and just rounded them off with the router and just hand sanded them.
Nice.
Okay?
Nice.
That's how they were easy to make. We had to size these. We had to rip these across the saw, just the width we needed to hide the cup holders. Then we'll turn it upside down and we'll fasten this top on. And we'll be ready to take it back to Theodore for finish.
Nice. Nice, nice,
In this
nice. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Well, I'm gonna get to sanding these corners right here, and then the table legs as well. Okay, so now that the top is there, let's lift this up, and we have those dowel jig there. You see the encasings right here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now what we're gonna do is put the dowel over here and just secure the top, and then make sure you put the top iron grooves all the way around to draw that table in as well. Okay, so that's exactly how you do it. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The construction of it. And that construction, the 4 pieces right there, coming together to making in that simple join. Yep. Oh, it is beautiful. And there it is, completely constructed, and we're ready for to coat it, because you want to varnish this beauty. You don't want it to get, stained or anything like that. So time to load it in for the night, and then we're going to take it over to Uncle Ted's in the morning. And weather conditions seems perfect for this build. So I am super excited to get this varnished. And let's do that. So the first thing I use is using air hose to blow off any particulates that I see. You don't want any particulates being on the table when you're trying to blow it up, when you're trying to spray it. We take the top off in order to varnish it in sub-assemblies, just like I do for my miniatures, always working in sub-assemblies, to be able to do that. And this way you can allow to get into all the crooks and crannies. There's Uncle Ted. Thank you, Uncle Ted, for joining in the fun and spraying the matte varnish. He is a master woodworker. He creates things out of just about nothing. He looks at wood and makes it happen. So we're doing 75 to 100 PSI when spraying the full coats going through. And really, it needs to be done at dawn to minimize the bugs getting on there, because you don't want any bugs on the table, especially if you're spraying outside. Now, we don't have a downdraft booth in order to do it, so wind could be a factor, and wind conditions on this summer is optimal. Really, really, really optimal. It took 2 months for the perfect conditions and the availability of Uncle Ted here to be able to spray this. So finally that it came through, I was super excited. Time for expansion and touch-ups, and that's pretty much it. Table is ready to come home, and it is done. Oh, look how beautiful this table is. It has some scenery. I put a mat on there, and really perfect for gaming. Really, really good for the purposes that we have for the channel. So I'm looking forward to doing battle reports and much, much more. Catch you on the outro.
There it is, all complete, ready to play on. I am super excited to start doing some battle reports and all that good stuff. Well, if you like this video, like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time on the Miniatures Paintbrush.